Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. We're going to start the meeting. And we have a couple of special guests. We're going to start with our annual traditional, what happened last week. Rob, would you join us?
Good evening. Here's my colleague. All right, come on in. Actually, do you want to defer?
Sure.
Come on
have
up.
a staff, but I think they're all weird.
She's already. All right. Yes or no? Yes or no? Just come on. While he's coming up, our intent is to bring to closure the game. Just a couple of brief announcements. Yes, it was held last week. Time out, we're over.
Unless you want to make sure you can read the signal.
Oh, okay.
Did Michigan State even show up for that game?
Yeah, Michigan State, the Wolverines did show up in Lansing. We were there.
Oh.
It was decent.
But let's put this in the context of the four-way test. It's only appropriate. Did Michigan arrive in Lansing last week and play? Yes.
No, East Lansing.
Ah.
That's not the truth.
Okay. Did they win? Yes. Last year, okay, State came to the big house in Ann Arbor. Did State win? No, Michigan won. However, the year before that, okay, Michigan went to East Lansing. Did they win? No. And then the year previous to that, Spartans came to the big house, and what did they do? They won. So my friends, there's a pattern being set up here. Every 2 games and so forth. But on behalf of the Wolverines and so forth, we want to thank you and everybody else for the opportunity to come to your house. We won't mention the 49-0 score, but we want to thank you for the opportunity, for the rivalry, and the opportunity. And a round of applause to the Spartans. Right, always place those people in certain areas. But then, or is it true you went to do them, or you just?
No, when I went to school.
Oh,
I misunderstood.
I'm always being misunderstood.
Go blue.
Thank you,
Come
everybody.
on up.
Okay.
Quick comments.
2 things. Don't think my law degree is any less valuable because of how some kids throw football. Second, I love y'all. We don't get them.
That was not planted, I just want to say.
I would
I
like,
wasn't trying to hide. I really poked on my pin and had to go to the deal with it.
I would like to welcome Assistant District Governor Al Tucker to the podium for a special presentation today.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. I'm not sure if Anne Marie asked me to do this as a filler or not, but she said before I go into the presentation, I ought to explain to you what an assistant governor does. Which remind me, what do I do? Anyways, what the assistant governor does is basically first, they serve as a representative of the district governor. So when Mike Chafee needed an extra hand, he would call on me or one of the other assistant governors to help him in that regard. So that's the first thing we do. Second thing we tend to do is we're available to the club if they have any needs or any issues or concerns and would like either some help from the district or from international, or even just some advice. And the third thing I think we do as assistant governors, and there are 10 of them in our district, I'm the assistant governor for Area 7, and so I have responsibility for all the Flint clubs. This club, Greater Flint Sunrise, Genesee Valley, Benton, Flushing, Grand Blanc. Clio is someplace else, as it's voted. But the third thing we do is we basically serve as a sounding board for presidents, because presidents have quite a job within a club. And once in a while, they deal with issues that they just need to talk. So one of the things we also do is we get all the presidents in the areas together. And after about the third round of drinks, there's a lot of creativity that happens, and a lot of sharing of souls, and a lot of problem solving happens. So alcohol at meetings is not a bad thing. Anyways, so that's the filler. But why I really came here is to share with you some honors and honor some of your members. As you know, the #1 international service project, Rotary, is the eradication of polio. And we've had great success in that. Polio exists only really in Afghanistan and Pakistan. And you say, well, once that's done, then the job is done. Well, unfortunately, it's not, because even though there are no human cases reported of polio, the wild polio virus is still out there. So there'll be a constant need, not only now, but probably for the next decade, to go out in the environment and find that wild polio virus out in the environment and eliminate it. I think not in the Rotary magazine, but in the previous Rotary magazine, there was a whole article about that. Well, in order to make that happen, we still need funding. And you give support to the foundation, and a portion of the money for the foundation goes to polio, but that also goes to other service projects. However, within the foundation, there's a separate fund, it's called the Polio Plus Fund. And every dollar that goes from that fund goes to fighting polio. And last year, past district governor and your club member, Mike Chafee, established in this district the Polio Plus Society, very much like the Paul Harris Society. And in the Polio Plus Society, it's really, people will make a pledge. They'll give at least $100 a year to fight polio. And we had almost 100 people in the district sign up for that. And in this club, we had 7 people sign up for that. These are people who have and will pledge to give $100 a year to end polio. So I would like to recognize them to the extent they're here. To the extent that I could give them a pin, I would give them a pin. One of you already has a pin. That would be Mike Chafee, which is very good since he's, I think, there on Zoom. So giving him a pin through Zoom would really be a problem there. But if present, please come up to accept your pin and a little band that says End Polio Now. Rob Bennett, Howard Downing, Reg Lancaster, Dave Smith. Come on.
We want to get you guys.
Bobby McCullough, and John Neiman. I know I got 3 of you guys here. So I'll give the rest over here with Anne Marie, but thank you for your support. Wear this badge with honor. You know, as we're in Rotary, we need pins, right? Your whole thing can be decked up in pins. It's this guy, you know. How many pins do you
No, I don't want to talk about it.
Here's another one. Add, please wear it right. There's yours. Now leave the rest for others. So I'd like you to, a round of applause for these individuals. You fellow up there, help them support the next president. Bobby Oates. Back for photo. Oh,
Please, photo op.
well, then you have a real life experience with that. Okay. Let me go.
You can stay.
I know, I'm just throwing my child over there. A little closer.
And you know each
Yeah. And even like it.
other. My daughter's a second year. There we go. Thank you.
At least you're doing it. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Al. As an Area 7 president, I thank you personally. The meetings of the presidents are just so fruitful and so makes me mindful of the massive infrastructure that's behind what we do when we come to club meetings. It's just really kind of remarkable. The more I do this work, the more I realize not only are we standing on the shoulders of all of the, raise your hand, past presidents in the room, please. Raise your hands. Thank you for your service. But people go on to serve, they serve in our area, they serve in the district, they serve internationally. It's really quite amazing. And thank you, Mike, everybody. He's our lone Zoom participant today. But I really do appreciate the services that are available to us as Rotary leadership. Also, the group that came up here must have paid attention when Mike introduced this to us. Like, I'm gonna own it. You know, I had to really dig and figure out what this was, what this Polio Plus Society was. I put the information on how to join in one of my messages a couple weeks ago. I went in and made my gift, as I told Al, but I didn't follow all the steps. You actually have, because this is a district project, you have to go into that district site. I'll pop it in next week's message and actually sign the pledge form so they know you've signed up. They don't automatically know you've started making these gifts. It's really easy to do. It's one of the core things that binds us with every Rotary club in the world. And I think it's really cool. And I thank Al and I thank Mike and all of my fellow Rotarians who've joined the Polio Plus Society. So on your tables, there is something that looks like this. We've been talking about the Flint Public Library now for several weeks about creating a service home. This is not a commitment form. This is an interest form. We met on a couple of occasions with Flint Public Library staff. They went back, they met together, they talked about what might be a good fit for our members and things that they have available for service opportunities for us on sort of a standing rotation. So this is the ideas they came up with. At top of the list here is, many of you may not know, the Flint Cultural Center Academy is now on the Cultural Center campus. It's actually linked walkway through to Sloan Museum of Discovery and to the Flint Institute of Music. And those students walk the entire campus all week long. They take classes at Dorp Music Center. They use the Flint Public Library as their school library. They walk down to the Art Institute. They take classes at Sloan. It's a pretty cool setup. So on Fridays, there are 3 4th grade classes that come to the library from 11 to 12:30, and again, 3 5th grade classes that are there from 1 to 2:30. Great. And there's some bullets about what duties would look like if you were able to show up and volunteer during that time. There's a Tot of Time program every Friday at 10 a.m. And that is, again, described room setup and cleanup, distributing materials, scarves, shakers, and just generally engaging with the families that attend. Then just greeters. Who has not been, I'm going to ask you to own it, who has not been to the newly renovated library? Few people. It is, again, we talk about gems in our community. I just have to tell you, you won't want to leave. It is absolutely beautiful space. That's just one little gleaming look. There's incredible meeting rooms there. It's full of light and just full of hope. I walk in there and I think this is a place that's creating hope in our community. It is beautiful. It serves the underserved. It advances something near and dear to all Rotarians' hearts, and that is literacy and so many other community projects and community connector things. So I encourage you, if you're interested, sign up for all of them, sign up for just the one that is keenly interesting to you. And this is just the first step. We're going to look at where there might be sort of the critical mass and then work with the library on whether we come together for some type of training program first, and how the check-in process would work, and just what that will look like. So I'm gonna start with just asking you to sign this sheet, please. Okay, so moving on. Health and welfare. I'm sad to report that Jim Thompson is still not feeling great. He is doing much better, recovering from COVID, but his wife Katie, who's joined us several times for service and our Friday meetings, is not feeling so well. She trailed Jim several days in contracting it, and she's still quite ill. John Daly, many of you know John. He was a member of our club and a very active member, and he transferred, but he is also not well, and I really ask you to keep him in your thoughts and prayers. Apparently about 3 months ago, he went in to the hospital for a very routine medical procedure that his wife characterizes just turned into a pure nightmare, and he's still not better. So just, if any of you know John and would like to reach out to him, I'm sure he really appreciate your well wishes. Guests to be welcome. I believe we still have a guest at our table, and one of the things that is, I really want everybody to take one of these with you. We're having sort of a new self-service guest sign-in procedure. I want to thank Brian Sanderson, who wasn't able to be here today, but he put this together using Rotary, again, Rotary International Resources. It has, you know, all of the talking points you need to know about why Rotary, why join a Rotary, what do we do, what is Service Above South, what is our impact in the community. And on the back, that's very specific to our club, we have 5 avenues of membership now. Our traditional avenue, the service member status, and under 40 special membership and lower membership fees, our legacy membership and corporate membership. I'm a corporate member as part of the Flint Institute of Music's membership. I think it's a very untapped opportunity for us to grow the club. We're going to be talking about that in a little bit, but this is a resource, and I can get you as many of these as you want. But when you come to this meeting and you've invited a member, I ask you again to sort of self-service. This bottom piece is a tear off that I'd like you to give to me. Okay, it's what I'll use to introduce guests. It's how we'll know to reach out to them after they've come to like our social networking meetings, or if they join any one of you in one of our volunteer opportunities. So these resources will always be here at the front table. You don't have to haul this around with you, but it is really a great, Brian did an amazing job pulling together what I think are the high points of what it means to be a Rotarian. So let's thank him in absentia. And if you have any questions, of course, you always ask Amy. So covered that. We still have 50-50 raffle, and oh, thank you, Jerry is standing in for Fred today. Come on up.
Well, I'm planning on it. Yeah, be positive. Here's the numbers. Yeah, I got it. Is there a microphone?
This is it, Jerry. I'm sorry.
Okay.
We didn't have the
You come over there.
today. I'm gonna invite Al up to draw.
Oh. Yeah,
And then I can run up.
Al, I think we trust you.
Yeah.
First of all, I'd like to say one thing. Although I have 2 children that went to University of Michigan, I think we're very lucky to have 2 wonderful colleges in this Michigan State and University of Michigan. Wonderful. So that's my thought. Hi, can you hear me?
Okay.
I knew it, so I'm just feeling, whoops.
Oh, it's a trick. There's a slight hand. Not retracted this, okay. I draw for 3rd place?
Yeah.
Okay, 3rd place. Ticket. Last 4, 8299. 8299. Bobby down there. Second place. 8362.
All right,
Okay.
Ashley.
This is one of the hidden benefits and the joy of being a member of the club, the 50-50. Okay, the first place, let's,
Made many investments.
oh yeah, okay. 8295. 8295.
All right, George.
So I expect like that.
Congratulations, you guys.
Thank you, thank you. And it is the last meeting in October, so would Gene Dennis please join us? He's going to help us celebrate our October birthdays.
Thank you, Anne Marie. Traditionally, October in the Flint Club has had more October birthdays. There's been more October birthdays than any other month in the club. And I'm going back in my memory, back into the late 80s, into the 90s, when, we would have had 30, 35 members at a club that were all October birthdays. I was wondering the other day why so many birthdays in October. So I Googled it. I said, hey, Google, why is the birthday rate so high in October? And it responded to me. The results are the conceptions were in February. It went on to further recognize that if you recognize February as cold weather, snow, romantic fires, and Valentine's Day. And it finalized by saying, this creates just the right environment for human mating season. So now we know why so many birthdays in October. Today we have 9 birthdays. A couple of us are here. Let's see how they are. But if you're here, come on up, bring your dollar with you, and we're going to have a little fun. The 5th of October is Amy Crew. I don't believe she's here today. The 5th is also John Nyman. The 6th is Jack Helmuth. The 6th is also James Franklin. The 14th is Don Latta. He's quite oftentimes here, but he isn't here today. The 21st is Joe Fioroni. Joe said, he emailed me and said, I can't be there, but if I would put in his dollar, he would be, I would have his undying gratitude forever. So I guess I put in an extra $1 today for him. The 26th is Gary Horan. Gary, you're here. Come join me, please. The 28th is my birthday. That's tomorrow. Gary's was yesterday. Mine's tomorrow. And finally, on the 30th is Kyle McCree. That's our October birthdays. And as appropriate, have you got your dollar? You got your dollar?
Is that a 10? No, it's a,
Well, here, and you get a birthday cake.
okay. Thank you.
You get a birthday cake. And I think it's appropriate that we turn around and they sing happy birthday. What do you
Okay,
think?
I think so.
All right, are you ready, everybody? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Now, just a minute.
You bring an extra one, Gary.
Well, we had so many people in October that were so generous of not deciding to take advantage of the birthday cake. We've got a few extras, and so Anne Marie, maybe you can help me distribute some of these. I thought that the top echelon of the club should be the one that be the recipient. And let's start with our assistant district governor. Can you give him one? Take one down for El.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, the president of the club, she certainly ranks in that top echelon. And then we've got President-elect Elaine Gomes. Joe Martin, is he here today?
He is not.
He's gonna have to forfeit his cake then, I guess. And we'll go on to our treasurer, Becky Millsap. Vice President, Nick Gillespie.
Nick's not here.
Nick's not here. Immediate past president, let's go with her, which is
Elizabeth's not
Elizabeth
here.
Jordan. She's not here. How many have we got left?
3.
Wow, we got 3 left here. Well, let's have a,
The recent Polio Plus.
That works.
that
as
would
well.
be, if we
They're
got
all
3
here.
people here that was a Polio Plus Society.
We have 3.
We got 3 cakes. Let's recognize them.
That's all we left.
Did that take care of all of them?
And I'm gonna give our prospective new member.
Thanks to everybody. Thanks to the birthday folks. Hopefully you had a wonderful October birthday.
Thank you so much, Jean. So I need some help from President-elect Ellen. We've got some work to do today and just one, and then I'll pass on who's gonna go. Well, that's so instead. There's not one of those, there's not one of these for everybody. It's really more for a reference, and I'm going to ask, before I get started, for somebody to volunteer as sort of the note keeper, record keeper, high level, 50,000 foot level notes at each table. Who do I have? Don, thank you. Ellen, George, who's gonna volunteer over there? Thank you, Becky. And I'm going to, who should I nominate at this table? Jean? Jerry, great.
37.
So I'm gonna start by asking, I don't know how many of you in the room are deer folk or hunters, but what is, this is sort of my version of a stupid riddle, but this is the best I could do. What does membership, retention, and growth have to do with this image? Throw it out there. Anybody have any ideas? Oh my gosh. You should win something. Thank you. I don't know, my appreciation, because that wasn't as stupid as I thought it was. So I am convening, every member is on the membership committee, so I'm officially starting the Flint Rotary Club's membership committee meeting right now. And we're just gonna go over, we're gonna have some time, we're gonna spend 10-15 minutes on a little bit of work at tables, but I wanted, these things have been shared with you before, but we put together a strategic plan now almost 3 years ago. It actually sort of expires and needs refreshing at the end of this Rotary year. Membership growth, membership retention, those were both high priorities for that strategic plan. And we have a lot of wonderful, again, resources from the district and Rotary International. These are our numbers ending the 22-23 year. We had, we were negative 7.8% in growth. We, by those numbers, we needed 13 members each year to maintain our current membership level, which ended at 96. You can see the 5-year trend chart below that. We ended the 19-20 year with 121. We ended last year, we were up a bit with 100 members. For this year, your board, when we got together and did our Rotary International Club goals, we were looking at those trends and said we really, really wanted to make a difference and get those numbers trending back up. And our goal for this year is 114 members total when we end the year. So how are we going to do that? So starting this year on July 1st, we've lost 2 members. One a transfer to another club and one who's resigned, and we're sad to lose her. We know that we've already had 2 members say that they're transferring mid-year. They're active Rotarians, but the meeting time, location, whatever, no longer works for them. So that brings us down to 96 current members with a huge proviso. We're still missing 33 pledge forms. So we're working on that. We're sending reminders. We'll be making calls. And so that's proviso. We have 96 current members. I didn't add it up here because I don't want us to get too proud of ourselves, but we have 2 prospective members who've been read twice. So we think that there's already an upward trend back to 100 members. So how do we get the 18 new members we need to hit our goal? That's the net out of there. In my world, my fundraising hat world, there's a lot of science around running fundraising campaigns that for every yes that you need for a goal within your fundraising campaign, you need 4 prospective asks. It's a pretty daunting number. And so that's how I came up with the 72. That we need 72 Rotarian qualified prospects that we are all committed to reaching out to. And from that, we hope to get the new members we need by the end of the year to hit our goal. I think that's doable. I think it sounds. Someone walked in today and said they were a little negative on this because they belong to a number of things. I do as well. We're volunteer participation, service clubs. We know all of this it's a new world and these things are difficult and they're waning. But as the handout on your table, as the evidence and the all of the things we sort of testify to when we get together at meetings, there are so many reasons to be a Rotarian. We've contributed so much to this community. We contribute so much to the world. I think there's a huge case for growing the club. So I'm going to remain really positive, but I am going to put you to work. So you all know, and again, I've never looked at this entire classification list before, but it's brilliant too, right? This is as long, I think, as Rotary is long. The idea that if you look at all the possible different classifications for Rotary, this gives you a brainstorming list of who's missing, who's not here, what business sector or types of businesses or associations or organizations are missing. And I didn't plot out and go through all the data and say we're missing this, this, and that, but this is just a brainstorming list. And what I'm hoping, let's see, with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we'll spread out. We have 5 tables, so we basically need about 15 names or less to come back on this, I hope, by the end of the day. That's a lot, but there's 4 to 6 of you at every table. That's just a few names a piece. And it's just to get you to think about, you know, what it means to have this, to share, you know, to share the burden really of maintaining this club. I really do sit in awe of the fact that we've been here for over 100 years. And that we are still the largest club by far. I got an email from a club in India about 3 weeks ago, reaching out to us because when they look at all of the data across the world for Rotary clubs, we're up there as one of the largest clubs in the world. And, you know, that's something for us to be proud of. And I know we can always look to the past and say, we used to be much larger. I just care about the people we haven't met yet, the people we haven't welcomed in. So I want you to start before you do your homework and start brainstorming people that you know who might fit any of these categories. Again, it's just a way of brainstorming. It's not to limit or restrict us at all. It's just to give you a place to jump off and think, oh, I actually know somebody who does that, and I'm going to write that name down, and I'm going to put that classification in that table, and I'm going to put my name beside it. And you won't have to do all the work from there. We'll be meeting again and talking more about this, but that's the purpose of it. But I would like for you to start your table talk. Take a few minutes. I'm going to ask the newest member at each table and the longest serving member at each table to share their story about why they're sitting here. Why are you here today? Just really short and sweet. Let's get this started and get the juices flowing in terms of, you know, why this matters to us. It's really as simple as that. So if you don't know who you are, I actually do have the entire club roster here by date of joining. So if there's any type of argument or disagreement about who's been serving the longest at your table, I'd be happy to intervene. So go ahead. I'll give you about 5 minutes for that sharing time. All right.
I mean, every variation of people, protest, family, along with I know it's not, it used to be, that table, so I think and you only got 45 minutes.
Excuse me. And I mentioned earlier, our membership path, corporate membership that we opened up. I think this is the, you know, we haven't quite signed on the dotted line, but Huntington Bank is going to come in as a corporate member. That's 3 people. So if you're adding up numbers to reach your 15 per table, you've got a good corporate member prospect in there that will give us 3 members and pay a slightly reduced membership structured fee for that corporate membership. That's a multiplier effect. And it's a wonderful opportunity to open up this path to membership. So keep that in mind. Especially if you know the executive or someone who's a community leader, who may just not be able to get here, but for meetings, but really believes in what Rotary does and send their coworkers. It's a great opportunity. Enjoy.
No, you're only gonna hear this.
So, you join us.
Flint. I've been here ever since.
Then you. Well, what you. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. That's
Yeah. It's gonna be like a whole bunch. Like, less than 12 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't say double up on that. That's what this is about. What she's saying. I think she would also probably They changed, so I don't. This under.
Anything new?
I think she does, yeah. I know what's their classification of being, and somebody. Let me have it. But no, there's no way. You know, something was. So at least that starts all. Yeah, I think that's what. They have, I know, I'm we got two neighbors. That's right. Automotive retail.
All right, not quiet. So I think the energy has been great and I love hearing all the people talk.
So we're down number, but the problem is.
Thank you, everybody. I am going to wrap this up. Doesn't have to end here today. I hope it doesn't. I hope this is just built a little bit of enthusiasm. Our priority is on membership attraction, because those numbers I shared with you, I did not create. We get those numbers from Rotary International. And they measure those against what is happening with growth with new members and losing members across all Rotaries. We do not actually have a problem with retention. Our numbers are normal. There's all kinds of good reasons that you lose people. They move, they age, they die, they transfer to other clubs. We should never look at that as a loss in my mind. I think it's all boats rise with the tide. That's all a good thing. So we do not have a retention problem. We have an attraction problem, and that's why we're going to continue to focus on who do we know that's missing out on being part of the Rotary Club of Flint. So with that in mind, when you get your weekly message, we're going to dump a lot of these resources in that email for you to refer to. I'm going to gather this up. I know from talking to a number of people, there may be an organization or a corporation lacking a name, like who knows the right person to ask. And just remember, anybody that you did put on the list, invite them to service, invite them to one of our social networking meetings, invite them to a Friday meeting. It's just a great way for them to get a feel and hear. No pressure, but just see what it's like, see who's here. Come and share an hour with us, and at least benefit from the fellowship and all of the good things that happen during our meetings. So I really thank all of you for your participation, and you will, every club assembly, we're going to focus on something else that was a priority in the strategic plan, but you will be talking about membership all the time. I mean, it's not something that ever goes away. It's sort of, you really can't let your foot off the gas. You really have to be focusing on new members every year. So again, thank you for being here. Does anybody have any closing concerns, questions, comments? We just a couple minutes. If anybody had an aha or something you want to share from your group.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm just gonna say quickly that Rotary is not the only organization that's having trouble attracting members. The world is changing around us. And Rotary may be doing better than most, because I've seen what happened to some of the other clubs that they're just very small. So we're fighting society. We're fighting a change in our world. That's one of the things that's going on.
Thank you.
I'd like to mention, this is kind of a strange coincidence, but day before yesterday, I spoke to a group in Chicago, and one of the main things we talked about was relationships and on the way to creating a team. The example that I used was that back when I was wearing the assistant district governor's hat, and even after, when we talked to the chair of the membership for the district, and when we went around to the 64 clubs to find out why some clubs were growing and some were not, and learned a lot of things like the more progressive clubs that were diverse, and look, these are the things that we're talking about right now, look for avenues to find people who were, well, not only look like our community, but younger folks as well. And the two questions that came out when we did the survey in those couple of years were, one, why did you join Rotary? And their answers were very similar to the ones we all know. We had networking, professional development, I believe in cause, all that. The really important thing though is, why did you stay? And the answer in the over 90% range, and I remember this all these years, is because of the relationships. People say, I stay because that's where my friends are. And when you get people who have a relationship underneath a common cause, common purpose, they're almost unshakable. But the thing is, when you go to tell others about Rotary, you can tell them the Rotary story, but don't leave out, don't forget the part that where our real strength is, and that's our relationship. We become friends with the people who care about what we care about, right? So,
Thank you. So don't pass the buck. Look for your newsletter this week. Oh, I'm sorry, Ashley, please.
Fess up, I was the negative person. I wanna make sure that I don't come off as a negative. So I was accosted by Rob about the state game, and I was in a. No, it piggybacks off of what you just said. It's not that I don't think we can do this, but I think it's a prospect of, we have to be realistic and we are doing well compared to other clubs. And with that being said, I've got like 6 or 7 people I'm gonna call. Like, we all can do it, but I just wanna make sure we realize, like, we have to be different than we have been in the past. I was in a Rotary club in Howell for several years, and I just saw something, they're not doing their big events anymore that they normally do because their membership is dwindling. And there are great people in that club too, but this is not just a us problem, it's all over. I'm in a lot of things, and getting people to be involved is challenging, getting people my age and younger to be involved is challenging. And I think that's really what we need to approach is, and I don't think my generation is more inherently selfish, I think we've got a lot going on. But I think we need to obviously keep service above self in mind, that's why I'm here. But people my age and younger are also trying to figure out how to sustain their family while they're working more than ever and paying student loans and all those things. So if we can invite people with that in mind, knowing that the first ask can't be, hey, join us. I think that is kind of a big deal. And I do think that this club is trying and doing a good job of trying to accommodate some of that. So I just want to say, I sometimes come off more negative than I seem, but I'm a realist and I just want to know, like, we're doing good things. Like, that's all I want to say.
Thank you, Ashley. And that's a great way to close the membership meeting of the Rotary Club of Flint on October 27th. And now I'm going to thank everybody who participated in making today happen. You all for joining me in prayer, and George for doing our bulletin notes today. Terry Mormon, who was so faithful to us in so many ways. Fred was sub was Jerry Hill, sorry. And birthdays, Jean Dennis always does a particularly special job for us, and I really appreciate it. And Mike Chafee's been on Zoom all day. And with that, I wish you all a happy Halloween, and the meeting is adjourned.
It's now used.